Well, I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. I bloody spent it in hospital because my dad decided to have a bloody stroke, didn't he? Honestly, of all times to have a stroke, mine, it has to be when I should be sat at home on me fat lazy ass all day, stuffing me face in me Christmas PJs. Some people are so selfish. So Christmas Eve, me dad rings me. I answer, "Alright, Dad, you alright?" He said, "Yeah." "Well, I'm not really, feeling a bit funny." I said, "Well, what's up?" He said, "Well, my legs and my arms are going a bit funny. Being a bit off balance. Turns out I've got an inner ear infection." I said, "Oh, bloody hell, have you?" He said, "Yeah, but I've got medication for it, so it's alright." I've been to the pharmacy. I was like, "Oh, okay." Thinking, it's all been dealt with. He's been diagnosed with an inner ear infection. I trusted the process. I said, "Well, if it's affecting your balance and you're feeling a bit wobbly on your feet, I have the same thing. So if I was you, I wouldn't be driving for a couple of weeks. Well, until it gets better, because it's ever so dangerous." He said, "Don't worry. Don't panic. I got people giving me lifts to and from work." I said, "Well done, that's alright then, as long as you're not driving." And bearing in mind, I live about 45 minutes away from him, so I'm not local. So Christmas Day comes around the following day. He gives me a ring in the morning on the dog and bone. He says, "Alright, look, bearing in mind he's meant to be coming for Christmas dinner today, that day." I said, "Alright?" He said, yeah, to be honest, it's getting worse." I said, "Why? What's happening?" He said, "Well, I'm at work, and this morning I've been trying to write. I can't write with my right hand. In fact, it's all me right side, me strength in me arm's gone, me hand I can't use it, can't write, and my legs going on the right as well." I was like, "What, is all down one side of the body, just on the right side?" He said, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, you never told me that yesterday. Yeah, I thought you were just vertigo, feeling a bit dizzy on your feet. But turns out it was all down one side." I said, "For God's sake, you need to get your ass to hospital, right? I'll be over." So I get myself ready, and then I'm straight over there, right? So I'm going to ring an ambulance. So get yourself a bag packed for the hospital, ring an ambulance, because you've got signs of a stroke. On a side note, he was chatting shit a lot, and I thought, well, is this anything out of the ordinary? Not really, but yeah, I'll ring the ambulance anyway, to be on the safe side. It was all down one side of the body. That's a warning sign to look out for. Bloody hell. So I speak to the ambulance. They said, "Stay put, we're sending an ambulance your way. It does sound like it could be a stroke." And then we went through the protocol. 10 minutes goes by and they ring me. They said, "Alright, Laura's just wondering if you're able to bring him into the hospital, because you'll get him there quicker than we'll get an ambulance to you." I was like, I knew that would happen. It happened to me when I had my blood clot, right? So I was like, "Yeah, no worries." Chuck him in the car, off we pop. So we get there and I check him in, and then because he's in for a potential stroke, they said, "Right, pop him in a wheelchair ASAP, Rocky." Yeah, he's got to stay in the wheelchair. So I'm there wheeling him about. We were in A&E for 8 hours. So in those whole 8 hours, all he had was a blood test and a CT scan on his head, right? To which they then told us after the CT scan on his head, "By the way, unfortunately a CT scan can't detect all strokes, so to be honest, he's going to need an MRI scan on his brain." Oh, alright then. Alright, so it wouldn't have made sense to do an MRI scan in the first place then. So we're made to wait in A&E for 8 hours for a scan that can't even fully detect all strokes anyway. So they come back and they're like, "Yeah, can't detect a stroke in that scan." But yeah, it was the wrong scan anyway, so what the fuck is that about? So yeah, come back tomorrow for your MRI scan, alright? But in the meantime, here's some aspirin, yeah? Chucked him a box of aspirin. Take 4 a day, yeah, till you come back tomorrow. And then we'll do the scan that you actually need. We're a bit busy. I got to go and see people with a headache and the runs. Best of luck to you, mate. Hopefully you make it through the night. Ta-da. Oh, that was an experience, mine. 8 hours in A&E. Oh, I said to the nurse, "Any idea how much longer it's going to be?" Because I got beef in the slow cooker. Bloody wheeling him about all day. My back's in half as it is, do you know what I mean? And he's a die-hard Bristol Rovers fan, right? He had his little woolly hat on with his Bristol Rovers badge on the front, right? And every time any of the medical professionals would be like, "Do you have any allergies, Phil?" He'd be like, "Well, only to City fans." I had to bloody stand up all day because there weren't no seats. Honestly, stood up for 8 hours pretty much. I got bloody calf muscles like a rugby player after that. And to top it off, right, I broke my toe a couple of days prior. I went and broke my toe, didn't I? Oh, I was too busy flirting with Mace, right? Wasn't looking where I was going, walked into the wall, kicked my foot into the skirt and broke my toe and snapped in half. But I hadn't actually had it checked out. But that's a whole different story. Anyway, when my dad was going in for a CT scan, I was after him to say, "Here, love, do you mind if I just pop me toe in there, have a little look what's going on?" But they wouldn't let me in, so. And after a CT scan, right, the doctor said, "Right, I've got to sit with my boss and discuss the results and try and put together a plan for you," right? So we could see him. So we're sat in the waiting room. We could see in the distance this doctor chatting to his boss, and they've got the picture of the brain scan up on the computer. Right, ages they were chatting. My dad said, "What are you bloody doing?" I said, "Well, I'm probably having our job trying to find a fucking brain in there." Don't worry, he loves it. He loves a bit of banter. We're always taking a piss out of each other. Even when we're at near-death experiences, this is how we work. The doctor walks off, right? He's still sat there at a computer for ages, right? Don't even look like he's doing just a bit of clicking here and there. He said, what's he been doing now? I said, well, he's probably playing solitaire. Or Bejeweled. That was always a good one on the PC. So anyway, the following day, he finally gets his MRI scan on his brain. It does confirm that, unfortunately, he had a stroke. I said, oh, bloody hell, Dad. Anything to get out the family Boxing Day party, innit? Honestly, I'd do anything. And what was funny is when he spoke to his sister on the phone, as the first thing he said, told you I didn't want to go. No, but all jokes aside, luckily, he's okay. He's going to be okay. Hopefully he'll make a full recovery. And I just want to say that luckily it was only a smaller stroke. So that's good news, and yeah, it is all looking like it'll be okay. He's got high cholesterol, so you know we need to look at all of that. But he has got to go back again on Monday for another scan of his neck, because the blood vessels in his neck, to check all that, and we're going to try and investigate the cause of what's going on and why it's happened. But I just wanted to say, obviously you know me, I always make light of any situation. You know, when I almost died of a blood clot and I went through hell for pretty much a whole year, I always laughed and joked about it. You know, even when I was saying bye to Mason, going to hospital in an ambulance, like with potential blood clot on my lungs, and anything could have happened. Even though that was all serious, me and him were also still joking to each other, you know, like making jokes. So this is just this, you know, I hope no one's offended. I know it's a serious matter, but this is how me and my family always deal with anything like this. So we are going through this, but the way I see everything is I can't control that. We're going through it no matter what, so we're going to go through it in the least stressful, painful, difficult way as possible, and always try our best to make light of everything and anything and smile, and just, you know, I just want to take this opportunity to say that with a stroke, you know, we're told to look out for the drooping of the face on one side and the arm and everything like that. I just want to take this chance to say that it doesn't always happen like that. You know, my dad didn't have a droopy face. He could still communicate. He was still walking about. It's just that he didn't feel right. He felt slightly, like, mildly nauseous since it happened. No headache, no head pain. He just experienced loss of balance and full strength in one side of the body. So I just wanna put that out there to any of those symptoms, any of those signs, no matter how mild they are, always go and get checked out. He should have done it as soon as it happened, but he didn't, and I didn't know. I trusted that he had been diagnosed with an inner ear infection and he was being treated for that. I didn't realise that it was all on one side. And then I spoke to my auntie and she said, oh, he's jumbled his words. I was like, oh my god, he's having a stroke, just straight away. But some people, you know, especially if you just get on with everything, a lot of people do that. I did it with my blood clot. I was walking around on crutches for 10 days with a blood clot in my leg. It wasn't until all of my followers commented saying, you need to go to A&E now, you could have a blood clot, and then I did, and it could have killed me if I didn't get it checked out. So yes, look out for these signs. It's not worth leaving anything anymore. You just never know. And as much as is a shit time waiting in A&E for 6 days just for a blood test, sometimes we gotta do it. We turned it into a laugh. We had lots of jokes and we were crying in fits of laughter so many times. I bet anyone else in there are probably fed up with us, to be honest. And I also just want to say before I go that I bumped into some followers who came over to me in the hospital, and that was really nice. Loved meeting you all and having a little chat. And there was one in particular, we pretty much spent the whole day in A&E in the same waiting room. We had lots of laughs and conversations, and it was lovely to meet you, and I hope everything's okay with you and your son, and thank you for chatting with me and, you know, and being lovely. Yeah, it's a shame to meet on such circumstances, but that's what you get when your dad's selfish and decides to have a stroke. I said to Amir, Dad, look, if you're going to have another one, yeah, can you try and make it a bit more of a convenient time for me next time, because this has been mayhem for me. Hope you've all had a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year. When's New Year? I don't even know what day it is at this point. I feel like I haven't spent any time with Mason and the kids, so I'm going to do that now and enjoy my day. Love you all. Bye.